All right, welcome back again. Hey, you're listening to KIEZ 106.7 FM. Got a very special show today. Normally, you'll see myself and also Brother Marcus each and every week discussing issues here at the Roundtable. But today we have a very, very special guest, one of the greatest queens in the community, Miss Allison. I ain't gonna say your last name unless you want to identify, but Miss Allison, hey, how you doing, Queen?
Hey, I'm good. How y'all doing this morning?
Great.
I'm doing great. Before we got started, when we pressed the record button, we had a very vibrant and expressive conversation going on. So, Brother Marcus, welcome Sister Allison to the table and let her know what we do when we sit down at the round table and we EAT.
EAT for us is an acronym which means evaluate all things. I got to say that twice because sometimes people don't hear it. EAT for us is an acronym that means evaluate all things. And that's what we do here at the round table. We evaluate everything else around us.
And that's what we do. We don't do it separately. We do it together. And that's why we had to invite the queen to the table. Miss Allison, once again, thank you for coming on. But Miss Allison, you're just looking so beautiful today. What's going on, sister? You about to get married?
I had a Zoom meeting with you. So
oh, that's what it is?
Well, you got to always bring it. So
I see. I like the earrings too. You got it. You rocking them.
Thank you. That's the key to everything. Love.
Hey, what's that sign that's behind you? The best place to be is together. Wow. Did you plan that today?
No, that's in my home because that's in my heart.
Bro, Marcus, do you see the demeanor has changed since we started recording?
Oh, yeah.
Recording, she was.
Oh, yeah. Hostile.
Don't do me like that.
Very, very hostile. But I don't encounter this a lot. Me and her, we used to sit down and have these dialogues a lot. And so I know who she is, regardless of the circumstances, whether she's hostile or she's smiling, So it is what it is.
Right, because you used to think that just because that was your spot, you was right. And I had to let you know that wasn't the case.
Right, that's right.
No, what it is, me, I'm a teacher, you understand? And a lot of these people that I come in contact with are really my students. And she come from my loins as a student. I've dialogued and taught her so much that, now I see a new confidence in her, whereas when I first met her, that confidence wasn't as vibrant as it is now. So now I see her, she's a leader in the community. I'm standing back because I'm not at home at this particular time. I'm not in Monroe. So now that I see her moving about, she become a Bears bondsman and all this stuff is flourishing. And she's a leader of a gang.
She rocking out now.
Look, I you have to be careful who you have conversations with. Right. You can't have all type of conversations with different people because their level of understanding is not there. So if their level of understanding is not there, it's like throwing pearls to swine. It's for what? They eat slop. Why would you give them pearls? You understand what I'm saying? So you were the person that I could have those intelligent conversations with. So I was in that you enlightened me on a lot of things. I give you that. You did enlighten me. By me coming to Bobo's, that got me really into Black-owned, Black-operated
consciousness.
Yes,
that's right. That's why I say you was a student of one of my pupils, one of my students. Because
use that term loosely, sir. Very loosely. Okay.
See, I mean, hey, ain't nothing wrong with having a teacher.
You're right, because guess what? I'm coachable. I will listen.
Because listen to this. You know who my teacher is? One of my teachers is Brian, and talking and dialoguing and doing business with this brother. I've grown tremendously. We started Bobo's together, Black-owned, Black-operated business. We've been partners for years doing business, sitting down, dialogue, coming up with things that we need to do in our community. So not only am I a teacher, I'm a student of the game, student of business, student of. I mean, when you talking to me, I'm a student. I'm listening too. I'm not just saying that to be the leader. No, because somebody has to follow the leader. I follow a lot of different people. You understand? And that's why I say now your voice is grown. It's bigger. it's vibrant. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I'm not just saying that to say, oh yeah, I got it under my wing. No. I want you to fly, sister, fly.
Right. My confidence level has grown a lot, because it's just a lot going on. I have black sons, and the state that America is in right now is just very unpredictable. We don't know where it's going. We don't know what's going to come out of it. And that's our job, to educate our children. I truly believe if you educate within your home, you can produce children that will in turn educate. If it's not others, at least they will know to educate their own. And that's where my kids went to Baton Rouge one day, all three, the 21, 17, 16. They went to Baton Rouge and hung out for a little while. But you know what I was most proud of? They went to the mall, and they bought World Vision, black owned, black operated. They went to the mall and they bought hoodies and they bought t-shirts. And when they came back, I was so proud. And the reason why is because what I've been modeling, they get it. They get it. That's the only way we're going to grow. If our money goes like this, that's it. Every day I try to have on something black on. Right now, this is black on lipstick. This dress is black on. Every day I try, even if I go to Chisley's and get a plate, even if I go to the cookout and get a plate, every day my goal is to spend money with people who look like me. Every day.
Very powerful, very powerful. And and I must attest as well, I have teachers, Brother Marcus, you, Allison, I've learned so much. And Allison, you fit right in to what we're doing. That's why I think today is going to be one of the greatest shows, because while Brother Marcus was gone, you and I did a show or two, yes, collaborate, making things happen, discussing what's going on. And you didn't do it just for the radio program. Each and every day, people could follow you on Facebook, Instagram, and they can see that you are a true social media manager. You're actually expressing what you believe in. You're not talking it, you're actually walking the walk also. And definitely people know the history of Brother Marcus, making things happen, and he's a ambassador of the community, fighting for the people's right. And so today, that's why this show is called This is America. So we want to bring it back home to the local area and understand we just had a situation happen in our community right down the street where there was an unfortunate murder-suicide in our community. And the month of May was Mental Health Month, and we need to focus on that. How can this go undetected, or how can it get to a state where there is an ailment in our community that actually needs our attention? What can we do?
Well, I mean, I was just at the Family Dollar store. I was going to get some headphones for this session, and I witnessed a young lady she was digging out of the donation basket as I was pulling up to the store. Now, upon me leaving, she was at the front door. She was an older lady. I would say she was probably about 40, maybe 45, 50. She had clothes tied around her neck, clothes tied around her waist. And then when I come out the door, she just started hollering, right? I was like, wow. I understood and I identified it's like a mental illness, but it hadn't been diagnosed. Mm-hmm. So in our community, a lot of the mental illness hasn't been diagnosed. You mentioned that the incident happened in the Parkview area, where the sister killed at least 4 to 5 people, I think. And they say she snapped. You know, a lot of our mental illness come from we don't understand that we have the illness, and nobody is talking about it, and nobody is ready to deal with that trauma. We've been seeing trauma all our lives, but we didn't know that we were seeing trauma. So we just like the vets that come out of the Army, that they say they have post-traumatic stress syndrome or whatever. We have that in our community, because when I come out the door and somebody got shot, I walk over them, and I don't feel like that's no problem. Oh, he was in somebody's business, somebody shot him. You know what I mean? No, that ain't the way that go. So our whole entire community, Black people as a whole, because we've been through slavery and all the things that come with that, we need to be psychoanalyzed. looked at as being having a mental illness, because we've been suppressed and compressed for so long that we hadn't been diagnosed with the illnesses that we suffer from. And and when you start to communicate and start to study, you say, "Oh, I see it. We are sick." I say we sick because I look at myself. I've been traumatized. I've been diagnosed, but I diagnosed myself. You understand? So I mean, we have to get more Black psychologists to come in our communities and start to analyze it, because we don't want to talk to the other man. So we're not going to sit on his couch. So we got to figure out how we do that as a group.
Well, one thing that I do know is a problem. We say we're going to grow out of everything. That's the number one problem with us. Oh, he'll be all right. He's going to grow out of it. Oh, she'll be all right. She going to grow out of it. Oh, they'll be okay. Oh, they'll be okay. Meanwhile, you got white kids going to therapists and getting everything in the world. Do you hear me? I have witnessed it for free. Mm-hmm. My son goes to therapy for his fine motor skills. That means his fingers, because I recognize how much pressure he was trying to write. That's not normal. It was so heavy, and the board slipped and he almost bust his forehead. So I knew it was a problem. And when I took him and got him evaluated, it was his fine motor skills. He don't have those skills, so he has to go to therapy. And you know how many people I hang out with don't understand why that boy thinking he gonna grow out of it. He was 4 and he could not open a water bottle. It's signs and symptoms there. We have to stop ignoring things. We have to stop when, oh, he just crazy. Oh, she just crazy. And we just, shun it off, and then they're drinking to counterbalance it. And then they start doing drugs to kind of balance it, and another thing is help us. You understand what I'm saying? It's been times that I have been so stressed out, and I called my sister and she wouldn't get my kids for a day. I called my brother. He wouldn't get them for a day. All I needed was 24 hours alone. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
That's a real problem.
Are you saying parenting itself? Are you saying parenting itself can be a challenge?
Yes, it is. Because we're juggling so much. You have multiple children, and just think about it. You're only in the confinement of your home. You're and your kids, right? Mm-hmm. How are you going to just woosah? You understand? But then when I did call my sister, she wasn't there. I don't ever ask her to keep my kids, but I'm not saying that's wrong why she wasn't there. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But if I call you, if someone calls and asks you to keep their kids, keep them.
Yeah.
Stop worrying about where they're going. Stop worrying about what they're doing. You don't know what's going on. You understand? And now everybody say, how could she do that? How could she do that? Well, if somebody wasn't in their right mind, they're not thinking with a rational mind.
Right. Because during this conversation, I've heard the term, the context of self-prescription, drinking, drugs, but the main thing I'm hearing is PTSD. We're related to first responders so much, but Brother Marcus, you said this in the past before. Every Black person in our community needs a mental evaluation because we're going through so much, and you just attested to it also, Allison, that just being a parent on that term, then a single parent. Then a parent, a woman, single parent raising Black young men. Because before we started recording, you were mentioning, and I never heard this before, that you as a Black woman can be driving, you're professional, you have Black boys, you have daughters, you're a leader in the community, you hold professional licenses, you're in the school system, but at times, if the police get behind you, you become nervous.
Not at times, every time. Every time. You know why? Because one time I was in a wreck and a guy merged over, hit me. And anyway, we pulled over, he ran. The person who I hit told her what happened. Guess what? She told me somebody got to get a ticket. I wasn't wrong. I had to go to court. I had to pay out of my pocket. That police officer did that to me. That's not fair. I don't care if you look at Philando Castile. He had his permit. I don't care what you do. If it's in someone's heart to be evil and to kill they're going to do it. You know, I did everything right. I pulled over, I called the police, I did everything, but in turn, I get punished. So how can you explain it? What did I do wrong? It caused my insurance to go up.
Well, you know, I look at, we talking about traumatized and being traumatized, the police, how the police should be retrained in a sense. A lot of them, in the Million Man March, the Minister Farrakhan, Minister Louis Farrakhan called for us to be, to come together and be, look and check our psychosis, check our mental
state of mind.
Mental state of mind, because he was saying that we need to be evaluated at that point. This was over almost 20 years ago. You dig what I'm saying? And a lot of us didn't even hear it, because sometimes we can't hear, you know, the information or the instruction that we get. We say, oh man, don't worry about it. Like you say, we'll grow out of it, he'll grow out of it. We need, but it's monies out there, right? For these particular mental illnesses. They got emergency mental illness fund or program that these mental therapy places that she just mentioned, they receive those funding.
Yep.
Yeah, but take it back home though. What if the parent, as Sister Allison, she was able to identify this, Brother Marcus. Right. But what if the parent cannot identify, even though resources are out there, Brother Marcus, but if the parent cannot identify it and the parent just duplicates what the parent has been taught, is that, oh, they'll be okay just by ignoring it.
Yeah.
What do we do?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us don't know how to parent. You know, I come up without my father. I had a great mother who understood all the things that I needed. So she taught me. That's why I say I always refute the stuff that they say a woman can't raise a man. I refute that because my mother raised me. You see what I'm saying? And a woman can raise a man. You know.
I mean, but we cannot give a man everything he needs. See, I have a 17-year-old.
Well, let me explain to you.
It's some conversations I can't have with him because I don't know how he feels. I don't know how he feels as a male. I only have a female perspective. No. There are some things that I can't relate to him on. You know why? Let me tell you why.
Go ahead.
Because I didn't have a dad in the home. And the only time I would live with a man is when he was my boyfriend.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, that's good. And that's why I'm saying the conversation has to be had regardless whether you can understand him or not. He has to be able to tell you what's going on with them. And then you will be able to understand them. Me and my mother dialogue about everything. I mean, from my inception, you know, I talked to her about everything that ever went on with me. My father wasn't in the home, but they gave me good reviews on him. So I understood that my mother said my dad took care of everything. So when I came up as a man, started coming up as 14, 15 years old, I became responsible. Had a job at 15, 16, helping my mother pay bills. I understood that my father represents that, but he wasn't there to tell me that he represents that. In nature, innately in our nature, we gonna grow up to be who we gonna grow up to be, men, women. You know, that's why at 13 and 14, we be thinking we independent, because that's our nature. You know, we be talking, oh, look, you don't listen, we argue. My voice is gone because I was arguing at my son. But in fact, I have to have a conversation with my son. Why you feel like you feel, homie? Why you doing the things that you doing? Then he can tell me what's wrong, and then we both can fix it. You understand? So my mother told me, she said, I went to prison when I was 22. She asked me a question, and I always think about it. She said, what did I do wrong? I looked her square in the eyes. I said, you did nothing wrong.
Exactly.
My mother gave me all the basic necessities that I needed to be able to strive as a young male in a world that's hostile.
Right.
I deviated and tried. They say, train a child in the way that he should go, and he would never deviate. That's scripture now. Right. Train a child in the way that he should go, and he would never deviate. But in actuality, he's gonna make some waivers and he's gonna do some things, but he's gonna come back to that structure in which you've been taught.
But when you do deviate, it's all a choice because
Exactly.
you have the knowledge of right and wrong. So that's a
nature.
choice.
That's nature.
That's a choice.
That's what I'm saying.
Choice.
See, that's what I'm listening. That's what I'm listening to you. I'm listening, but and I just told you the exact same thing. That's the choice. My mother said, "What did I do wrong?" I told her I chose the lifestyle that I chose.
Right.
You understand? So when listening and understanding, see, I always say, "Man, he can't hear, or she can't hear because she or he ready to come back. They ready to fight. I ain't ready to fight. I'm listening.
Listening to reply. I got you.
I'm listening to be able to go to the next level because our kids, they ready to fight about their situation. Say, hey, why you ain't do this? Oh, I did do it. No, hold up. Did you hear me? I asked you, why did you do it? Now just explain to me why you didn't do it. You understand? Communication, effective communication. It will resolve a lot of issues. We got issues in our community about the police. Now, let's write an agenda. Let's see how we can help the police chief be able to tell his police officers how to conduct themselves when they stopping us, how to conduct themselves before they pull out their weapon. They got cameras on. They got a lot of things that's going on to try to alleviate some of this stuff. But we as a group, all of us have to be able to say, okay, this is what we want and this is how we want it.
I agree.
Allison, is that your telephone?
Yeah. You
gotta report in or you gotta go?
No, I just gotta cut it off. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, no problem. But hey, as we're talking right now, I'm hearing what everyone is saying, that communication is a major function in our society. And the lack of effective communication can definitely distort the message. That's why this show is called This is America, because there are so many distractions. And I sent you all a video, whether you saw it or not. It was by Childish Gambino. And did you all get a chance to see it, or have you saw it in the past?
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of deep messages in that video. And I base it on something that Brother Marcus has taught me through the years about distractions. Because in the front that we see, they're dancing, having a great time. And I've watched this thing about 20 different times, and every time I see it or view it, I see something different. And because I'm seeing the dancing and the camaraderie in the front, I lose vision of what's going on behind him, all the violence that's going on. What do you all think about this word that's called distraction?
I think media is a big part of that. And I wanted to go back to something with Brother Marcus.
Yeah, go right ahead.
He said, I share the Jesus, I'm able.
Well, the people didn't hear that. That was on before we started recording.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm able to detach that image from the word. I'm able to detach it. You understand? But a lot of people are not. The media, the things the media do, those reality shows, how they just showing us protesting and tearing up, and really a white guy burned down the Minneapolis station last night, a white girl burned down Wendy's, but the media is portraying it that like we are doing it. You have to be conscious enough to control what you and your family watch, because it will desensitize you. A lot of people are desensitized because of the media. Just think about it. Why are we scared of Arabs? Only thing I ever seen on TV was them blowing stuff up. That's why. You understand? Why do we feel Jews are greedy? That's the only thing I see on TV is they're cheap, and they money. That's the only thing that has been portrayed. Why we think Africa just got little old hungry, starving children. That's the only thing the media has showed us. And a lot of us don't have the means to go out there and see otherwise. So it's a conditioning. The TV has conditioned us. And back when my mom was living, I was about 22. My mom stopped watching TV. And of course, I thought she was crazy. And she just said, it's just nothing. She said, it's poison. Guess what? I understand her. It's poison. That's why we don't watch reality TV in my home, because what they do on Housewives, what they do on Basketball Wives is not reality. But if you watch it every day and for years, your mind will become conditioned to put up with what those women are putting up with, to go get liposuction, to go get things altered in your body. You know, my daughter and I had a conversation. She was like, well, if you get a liposuction, that's cool. But when you start getting all the other stuff, it's not. I say it's not cool for you to go have a medical procedure and nothing is wrong with you. I said the TV has conditioned you to think that go and get liposuction is okay. I said close your mouth and stop putting bad food in your mouth. And then you won't have to go pay $5,000 to get a liposuction. Because when they go get a liposuction, guess what? We know someone who went and got it. A year later, she had to go back because she didn't change her eating habits. She didn't change her mindset. Mm-hmm. So guess what? In the upcoming year, what she's going to have to do? Go back again. Then my daughter understood what I mean by TV conditioning you. You know, it's conditioned. The commercials, I watched the thing on consumerism, and Dasani is one of them. You know how Dasani is marketed? It's all marketed to stimulate your brain so you can purchase it. You know what I'm saying? That the media is poison. It's poison. It's just, that's why I'm glad we have things like the community roundtable. I'm glad we have these things, you know. I'm glad so you all come on and talk about it, and we can learn and we can have these conversations and open up this much needed dialogue. You know, and I can't have these conversations with certain people because they think she on, you know what I'm saying? So
and you all about love.
That's it. That's the only way I can get to heaven. Don't start, Brother Marcus. Brother Marcus.
I'm not.
Brother Marcus, don't start.
I'm not. I'm saying perception is our reality. So, you know, if we keep on reading his story instead of our story, we won't know what our reality is. Right. Our reality is we built the world. We
for free.
For free. We the original people on the face of the planet Earth. And if we start to teach our children that, or to start to say, okay, we're not gonna watch TV today, but we're gonna read this book about how Africa began. Or yes. let's go to Africa. Let's plan enough money. Let's save enough money to take a trip so we can see where the Egyptian pyramids are. So I can really understand that I built the world. I understand all the mathematical equations and all of this stuff, that we are the original, and everything else is it just came out of us. So we won't kill each other. Unfortunately, you know, we won't be mad at each other because he got on red and I got on blue. You know, these things are designed to keep us distracted from the real reality. The world is still going on. The real reality that 40 million people are out of work. You understand?
Distractions.
And people are dying every day. It's a distraction. So when the COVID-19 come and Louisiana got $1.8 billion from the COVID-19, just the state, that's more than the budget alone in Louisiana, the whole budget for last year. You understand? See, this is political season, right?
Yes.
It's political season. We talk about the mayor race and the governor's race, but the whole thing is about census, the numbers of how many people in each city, state, and town. You understand that?
Yes.
I mentioned that we got allocated funding for mental health.
Yeah.
Mental health in our community isn't discussed because we're not talking about mental health.
Because we don't believe in it. Yeah. We don't believe. A lot of us don't believe in it.
We don't believe in it. We don't believe in it because we don't understand it.
Right.
It's a lot of things that I didn't believe in. Now that I understand, they say with all that knowledge, get an understanding. So now that I understand, I'm welcoming a psychoanalytic person to talk to me, because at 14 years old, I went to Robert E. Lee Junior High School, 13, and I was considered a bad ruckus guy. So I wasn't bad, but I wasn't paying attention to what was going on because I was distracted by other things. My peers around me wasn't getting all A's and B's. So I didn't want to get all A's and B's, but I was much smarter than I was acting at Outlast, right? So they brought in, I would pass all my tests, but I wasn't at school. They couldn't understand why. I would be suspended for 3 or 4 days and come back to school on Friday and ace a test. But when my homeboy got out of school, I would ask him, hey man, what y'all did in class today? And he would share with me. So I studied it. His name is Tyrone Broadway. I'll never forget it. I would study that day. And on Friday, I go back to school and I take the test. The lady said, how you ace this test? You weren't here Monday and Tuesday or Wednesday. I say, hey, I was studying. So I say I was studying. So they say, oh, he got good grades, but he bad. I said, oh, okay. He's not paying attention in class. He acting up in the classroom. So they got me a student, a psychology student from ULM to come and evaluate me. So she would put the recorder on the desk and smash it and say, talk. I wouldn't talk. See, she turned it off, I start talking. But at that time, I didn't understand what she was trying to do. You know, I could have had the evaluation a long time ago. You understand? I could have been in the know of what my mental illness was at that point. You dig what I'm saying? So now that I know and understand, I'm welcoming that in our community, and we got the funding. So right. the black psychologist student that then graduated from school, and now she don't know what to do with her psychology degree or his psychology degree because they don't know what the funding is. But the funding is up in the federal government has the funding, and it's all due to your census, whatever city you from and whatever state you from. They got governmental mental illness emergency program fund. Mm-hmm. So those therapists that set up on the north side of town, white therapists or white psychologists, they know where the funding at.
They do.
The young student that just got out of school, that got this degree, hers or his is hanging on the wall, and he don't know what to do. He don't know how to set up his practice so he can evaluate his own people. Mm-hmm. You know, and they keep giving us the same diagnosis. They keep giving us the same diagnosis, but it's a whole manual that they had to follow and look at and say, okay, this is what he or she has in order to give them some kind of attention or some help. You understand? So when we start to deal with this stuff for what it is and understand what politics really mean and what the census and all these different things that we go through and not be distracted by, I just looked up the 2018 comprehensive annual fund for Monroe, Louisiana. Laid out information, packed with information, where the money go, where it coming from, when it gets there. You see, when we start to do that, we'll understand how we can help each other. How many people in this city? We don't even know. How many people on your side of town? We don't even know. You know, who qualified to be, who has a degree in psychology that we can get some help, that we can show that we can all sit down, we can go to that particular person and say, oh, you got a psychology degree? Where you working at? Where's your practice? We need that we need that on the south side so we can talk about our issues, and we won't have these people committing acts of random violence by shooting 4 or 5 people in a community that's already is looked at as being, I'm gonna say, a hellhole. Yeah, it's not a hellhole. That's where I come from. That's my neighborhood.
I have something about that census. Let me tell y'all something. As intelligent as I am, I didn't fill out the census until this year. I think I may have filled it out in 2010. I don't know, but I'm gonna tell y'all why. Because of what was given to me in the household. And I was under the assumption that the census just wanted to know who all was in your house and not for a good reason. You understand what I'm saying? That is how I was. That's what, you know, my mom, that's why she never filled it out, because that was her belief. And in turn, I believe my mama.
Of course.
And I practiced what my mama did until I got informed and realized, hey, this how we get funding. But do you see how what was going on in my household trickled down to me? And in turn, it caused me not to fill it out until I had to self-educate myself and find out, because it was just, it was someone, they just want to know how many people in your household. You don't put it on there, they're going to come on. A lot of myths, a lot of just myths, and they probably came, from my mom. My mom actually grew up on a plantation, a whole plantation in Norton. And my family actually was raised on a plantation. My grandmother, 11 siblings. And when my grandmother got a house over the lake, that was a big accomplishment for a Black woman. And she was able to move her kids from off that plantation. But by my mom being raised like that and exposed to that, look what it in turn did me until I self-educated myself. And I was very proud to fill out my 2020 census because now I have the knowledge and the understanding that funds, the communities. It funds if I have 5 Black people in my house. I'm telling them I got 5 Black people over here, and we need this and we need that. But until I educate it, this is another thing. We can't educate. We can, but we need to stop educating when the census here. We need to educate before that.
I got you.
We need to educate, start 2 years prior trying to educate people. Just like when people get their income taxes, everybody want to tell the world what to do. When you get green money in your hand, your brain go to a whole nother level and no one is going to listen to you. I'm like that. Okay, my check finna be $800. I'm finna do this, this, and this. But when I get that check, guess what? I done deviated from the plan.
Right. Man, what we're unpacking here is very, very serious to the health and the wellness of our community. And we'll see if we could unpack it because, we got our 30 more minutes. But we're talking about mental health in our community. We're talking about financial education in our community. We're talking about the numbers. I think that's what Jay-Z said, that people lie, but the numbers don't lie. The numbers are there. And then I heard Brother Marcus attesting to his history. He was mentioning about when he was in school, the teacher, psychologist. Then he mentioned the school he attended, Robert E. Lee. So we're going to try to unpack all this, what we're talking about, and it's based around the psychographics, from what we see, from what we hear, and from what we've taught through learned behavior right there in our household. So let's talk about the numbers itself. Let's talk about the census. And breaking the census down, it's a numbers game full of data that can assist us through financial resources from the federal level. Now, how does the federal government send money, trickle money down to the state, to the municipalities, to the city? Is done through the census. They have to know every 10 years how many people are actually in our communities. But I'm like you, Allison, for several censuses, I did not participate out of ignorance and out of what I was taught. But today I know better, and that's why we're doing the show, trying to understand this is America. This is a corporation, and we are part of that corporation, and we have to actually understand and manipulate the numbers so it works better for us. We're talking about mental health in our communities, that it's funded. But if we are not counted properly, certain communities are underfunded. So what do we do? But how do we spread the word? More so, how do we get our people in our community to believe that there is more than just a vote? You can just get counted and have resources in our community.
I was thinking about that. We always wear these shirts. We advertise a lot. The advertisement is the key. Advertise what is going on. Let the people be in the know. A lot of times people are not in the know and don't really understand. So when you say Black Lives Matter, the census matter. That's what we got to say. The census matter, because this is where the federal funding come from. In 2015, they allocated $696 billion to the overall government funding, right? $696 billion, man. And they went from state to state, city to city. That's how they allocated the money. but they got all of these programs that they fund, right? And when they fund these programs, I think about our current mayor, Jamie Mayo. In 2000, see, people say Jamie Mayo, this, that, but when you look at him, they in our census, they had we was a city with 53,000 people in it. And in cities above 50,000 and better, they get a certain amount of funding from the federal government. He knew that. He understood that. So in 2010, they said, now I think it was 2010 or 2012, they said our city had lost 1.5% of the population. So they took us down from 53,000 people to 48,000 some odd people, right? 48,700 some odd people. Jamie said, no, we're going to have a recount. That can't be right. So they came back a year later and redid the census. And they said, oh, no, we was wrong. It was 49,100 and some odd people, right? He said, no, that still ain't right. I don't believe that, right? So he's still been trying to, get the numbers up. But the numbers are down because just what you said. Oh, I didn't fill out my census. I didn't fill out, I didn't want to, because they said that if we fill it out, somebody's gonna be doing this and that with the government.
Big brother watching you.
Yeah, they're gonna know all our information. But in actuality, this is for this. We pay taxes, man. We human. We not 3/5 of a man anymore. We actually are part of the United States government. They see us, but we don't see ourselves. That's a line from Jay-Z. They see us, but we don't see ourselves. We have to start to see ourselves. Once we start to see ourselves, we will understand what this Constitution really means, when it was developed, how it was developed. It wasn't for us, but it's for us now. And we got to make sure that we count it. We count it. So the census matter. So we sit back and we start to educate. Oh, we start early. But all right, this is a year for the census. Next year, we start filling out the census for everybody. A lot of people can't read and write in our community, right? Because due to slavery, they want to allow us to educate ourselves. So those that can't read and write, they're not going to fill out the census anyway. And you're going to be undercounted because of those individuals say, oh, I don't have nothing to do with that. Your grandmother, your mother before you, everybody. They say, I didn't even go to school. So I don't know nothing about this. I don't even understand. This is like jargon to me. But we have to go from door to door.
That was my question. I want to know, do they make allowances for those people who can't fill it out? For those people that don't have the mental capacity? For those people who are getting in-home care? For those people who are in nursing homes? Do they have an allowance for that? Do they have room for error? That, I had a question about that. Because it should be a margin of error.
See, we got to get.
If we were at 49,100, we should have had a margin of error to bring it to 50, I believe.
Exactly. So what we do, we get with the Census Bureau and become an agent in the bureau in our city, and that's how we get informed or get more information, and then we go further. The younger generation, let's talk about this. Let's have the dialogue. The younger generation, they not looking at the round table. They not talking about the round table because we ain't got no guns in it. We got to have some music. Then they say, okay, the round table, they doing it. So we got to
gimmick it. You got to gimmick it. Yeah.
So it's something like that video, This Is America.
That's
right. Everything was happening behind it, but in the front, the nice music, the nice dancing, until something tragic happened, then they get right back to the, as Brother Marcus say, sports and play.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So what do you think, Allison, about this census? Is it, well, you alluded to it earlier, how important it is, but my question now is that how did you become conscious to that the census actually matters?
Actually, just self-educating myself, and just really, I had to self-educate. I had to research it,
What stimulated that thought to self-educate?
What stimulated that thought is because, okay, they say our vote doesn't count, but I do know our vote does count. And by me working in the school system, I'm going to be candidly honest. I saw a lot of white people getting so many services. I'm talking about in 5 days.
Resources.
I see them got 3 different services in a week. I'm talking about them coming to the school, pulling the kids out, then them getting services after school. By me seeing that, that's why I took my son to get services, because they were coming there, and those kids, that was Medicaid from those white kids. That was those therapists was coming to the schoolhouse to use. So in my son gets Medicaid, and I said, let me go take him over here. And he's been there 4 or 5 years. You know, but it's just a matter of us understanding. And by seeing that, I said, well, they don't know my little boy got a problem. But if I do my census, they will know, and we will be counted. You know, I put it, I had a thought that we should compare the census to a warm body count in a school. I don't know if you are familiar with that, but a warm body count is by October 4th, they do a warm body count. That means in every school in Louisiana, they count the warm bodies. The number they get that day, that's the number that's going to be funded. So that's where they get the numbers from, how many people in school, how many, and then the federal government gives them the funding based on that. That's why, I'm gonna be honest, you know, before October 4th, their kids not getting sent home that much. They not getting suspended that much because they want them to be at school. But I'm telling you, they come on the intercom, warm body count. We need your warm body count. We need your warm body count. We need it now. We need, you know, so that it puts something in my head. You know, so I had, what's a warm body count? Then I tied it all together. That's how they get their federal funding. By October 4th, that's the day. And they count all the warm bodies. That's why they want everybody present in their school. Then after October 4th, you know, Johnny gonna get suspended if he cut up.
Yeah, I was looking at that, the census. In the census, they fund everything, like the federal government fund everything. So the SNAP food program, the assistance, they gave them $71 billion across the country. $71 billion, that's a lot of money, man.
Billion.
These people allocating this money due to our census. You know, the Families Against, temporary assistance for family, the needy family program. They gave them $17 billion.
And this is for a period of 10 years.
This is for a period of 10 years. No, that's how much they allocated that year for that money, for that because the census lasts for 10 years. So they're gonna go off those numbers for 10 years to keep on putting the budget out front every year. You know, so that's how. But we have to understand that what the government represents and how we represent ourselves. We don't see ourselves in this equation because we still think we enslaved. That's why we fear the police. That's why we don't communicate with each other. We don't communicate with each other because the slave master told us not to communicate with each other. Don't talk to Brian. Don't have no conversation with him. I don't want y'all to run off. If me and you talking, we can conjure up a plan, we're going to run off together. They didn't want us to communicate with each other. So we still don't communicate with each other to this day. We start talking business. Oh, no. Oh, they putting something together. Let somebody infiltrate that and see, so we can curtail that before they get started.
Your ice may not be cold enough.
Exactly. Now, once we start to do business together, we create a bank. Now we funding ourselves with certain things. You know, how many black people in your community? Like Master P got the little saying, you got to watch who your neighbors are. Who are the people in your neighborhood?
That's what Allison said.
So when you doing that, you putting together a census. We should have a black directory of business in the city of Monroe. We the 8th largest city in the state of Louisiana.
I ain't gonna speak on it, but
you know. So when we talking like this, we got to be putting together a plan at the same time. We've been talking for a long time. Now is the time to take action. The black nurses in this area, the black doctors in this area, we got COVID-19 going on, and we still being misinformed of what it really is and how it can how it can cause us to die in a sense. We don't know. We're not informed. So we got to put down something or put something together where we become informed. And that's what the census and all these different programs is about. That's what we talking about right now. And we can move forward with our healthy living.
Well, this is my thing right here, is that I'm not trying to scare anyone or get overprotective on a conspiracy theory. However, I want to relate that distraction to what we're going through now, COVID-19. Now, people are so distracted, even myself, I have not completed my census yet, but we become so distracted, we will easily forget to fill out that form. Yeah. And so when the funding mechanism kicks into place, if your community has not participated, now you will fall short for an extended period of time. And so that's the challenge I'm talking about here. We have to stay focused. We have to see what's in front of us, but look behind it so we could truly identify what's going on. So now we're distracted about the Confederacy, about these Confederate monuments or these buildings named after Confederate soldiers. That's real and it has to be addressed, but let's take care of this funding mechanism first. Get counted, then come back to that fight. That fight is very important, but let's get this money first. Because as far as I know, all three of us, we're in business, have been in business. If you're undercapitalized, you become very limited. And then that means you cannot employ your own people in your own community. You cannot help your own family to be successful. So we gotta always do for self, but we gotta get this federal dollars that's in place so we can fight the fight even stronger.
And so we can start producing more. You know what I'm saying? So we can start, so our kids can be afforded certain things, because that's how a lot of them, they are afforded certain things because they know about the funding. They go and get it. And then guess what? They're going to tell John, so John can get it for his family. Then they're going to tell Sarah, so Sarah going to call Sally. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But too many times when we do get a hold of knowledge, we don't like to give it out.
Stingy.
Yeah, they got a block grant for mental. It's called a block grant for community mental health services. Who getting that block grant in our community?
What about the grants for those that are coming back for second chances?
Yeah. There's a lot of things out here, but understanding it that they out there. The services that Allison mentioned. It's a lot of services that's being provided. But they got nonprofits on the north side.
Yes.
How many nonprofits on the south side?
Yes.
It's a lot of them. They just don't have the paperwork.
Yeah, the paperwork to understand how to get the funding. Oh, I got a nonprofit, but I don't know where to get the money from. You get the money from your federal government,
and you get the
money from the people that you provide these services for.
The people who we elect in turn also have a responsibility to provide us with this information, because they are well aware how underfunded our communities are. They are well aware because when they come in here to, campaign, they see it. They see the distress our communities in. And if you representative, you a senator, I don't care what political aspect you are, you have that knowledge. In turn, you should give it to us. You should give it to some of the people that, that you see in the community that will benefit from it and that can share it with the less fortunate people to a level of understanding where they can utilize it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just coming around and giving out a barbecue plate, coming around and giving out a hot dog plate. They have responsibility also.
Accountability. Yeah, accountability is very important.
Yes.
For me, that's tough because I say we have to get involved at each and every level. That's the key.
But everybody don't have the mental capacity to do so at our level. And it's a gap. It's a gap. It's a gap, right? But I'm being honest.
It's a gap. Like I sit back, I analyze that. I always, the people who represent us are not sometimes qualified to represent us. So they not in the know neither. First time state representative.
I got you.
He or she hasn't read the information. We conscious-minded individuals. We fight for the rights of the people. I've only got elected because I know I was a lawyer. I say I'm gonna run for state representative, a House of Representatives, or the senator. But
Right.
I'm not from the community for real, because I've been away.
Right.
I've been at school. I just came back here. I don't really understand the demographics of what's going on. I hadn't talked to the mayor. You know, we got seven different municipalities under the city of Monroe. We got 7 different other municipalities under it.
What do you
the
mean?
South Side, like you got North Side Developmental Community Group, and you got the South Side Economic Developmental Group. You know, these are entities up under the governing body of the city of Monroe. We get a part of the funding that goes that's being dispersed in the city. But our side of Southside Economic Developmental, the developmental group, we hadn't sit down and talked or dialogue about what we can do with the funding that we get from our own city. You see, so people that's qualified is not sitting on the board or not talking about the quorums that's needed in order to be able to make the Southside Economic Development District a really reality. Our reality is that we confuse and don't understand what this Southside Economic District means to us. Once we figure out what it means to us, we'll see the governing body and we'll start to chart or agenda for the Southside Economic Development District, which was carved out by Senator Charles Jones when he was as a senator. So he understood these things. Now, those individuals that sit in those seats today need to be talking to this brother who sit down and carved out the Southside Economic Development District, so they will get an understanding of what's needed in our community. But we don't talk to the elders, our peers, because they didn't want us to communicate with each other. So I ain't going to talk to Charles. I don't know his history. All I know that Senator Charles went to prison, but I don't know that he constructed the Southside Economic Development District, and he carved it up and he did it a good job. So the people that represent us need to be talking to this brother about why and how did he form the Southside Economic Development District. Simple. And then we can move further with the funding that we receive, and we can provide other things for our community.
Yeah, at the round table, we come to the table and we agree that we will disagree. And as I say this today, I do not disagree with anything that was said today. I take it all in and I build on it and I grow from it. So it becomes a mutual perspective that I as a citizen, or I as an elected official, or I as a community ambassador, I must get involved. If I don't know, if I'm shy, reserved, and I see Allison as a voice, I need to pull Allison to the side and say, Allison, I'm kind of embarrassed, but I need to ask you about this. My child is going through this, or what's going on in the city, or what's going on in the parish. Allison has the voice. Allow Allison to go represent us from a local level, get that information and bring it back. We all have to have multiple stages of Brother Marcus, multiple stages of Allison's in our community, and they're there. Because if I'm reserved and I'm afraid to speak out, there's someone within our circle or our quasi circle that can actually be the voice. And that's what we have to do. We become the voice of the community, not separate, but together. Hey, our time is getting short. So much information. So Allison, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a few moments, then give Brother Marcus a few moments about our take of really the state of our community.
This has been a very enlightening conversation, and I have learned some things, in this dialogue. And I decided what I'm going to do today, since I am very, social.
Barbecue?
Social media.
Social
I'm going to hold my
media-
friends accountable.
Social media manager.
Right. I'm going to have a conversation with my friends today. I'm going to see if they filled out the census. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to promote the census. Maybe somebody will see it. Maybe somebody, if I keep talking about it, if I keep stressing about it, maybe somebody will see it on social media and be like, hey, let me fill out this census, So I'm going to start with me, because a lot of people, we grew up with certain beliefs, and until we educate ourselves, we don't know any better. So that's what I'm gonna be on. I'm gonna promote the census, you know, and try to get that going. I'm gonna try to challenge my friends. I'm gonna try to challenge the girl gang.
The girl gang
Girl gang.
going against negative genocide. Stop the killing.
I'm gonna encourage them to fill out their census.
Well, thank you, Allison, for getting involved. We sure appreciate that. So, yeah, I mean, you make a lot of sense. Brother Mark, you always have a lot of taglines. I mean, what can we do to promote it and be universal with the message?
Again, I mean, the census matter and we matter. I mean, the Black Lives Matter campaign should be on the census. We talk about voting. We talk about all these issues. We have to be organized around this situation. Once we become organized around the situation, we can hold everybody else accountable. Once they get the information in their hand, then you're accountable for your own action. You know, the things that you do today is going to affect you tomorrow. We don't understand that, but that's I told my son that yesterday. You know, the things you do today will affect you tomorrow, man. So in life, you got to be focused on what you're going to be focused on. If you're not focused on anything, you're doomed to fail. You know, because life is about teaching and coming up with concepts and ideas. Who has an idea? I asked my family members that the other day, who has an idea in order for us to create some funding? Nobody had an idea, you know. So when I look back at this stuff and I talk about things, they say, oh, a lot of people say, Marcus, you crazy. When in actuality, I know I'm not crazy. I'm aware. I used to be ignorant, but that's just a word. It hits home. Oh man, you ignorant. So I'm ready to fight. But in actuality, it only means that you're unaware of your situation. I'm aware and I know this. I'm woke. That's the song. Stay woke, man. Hey, it is what it is. We at the Community Roundtable. Join us.
Hey, I definitely want to thank each of you, both of you, for coming to the roundtable today, because you made a choice to get involved. You could have done whatever you needed to today, but you wanted to get the word out, to sit at the roundtable and say, hey, this is where it starts. One-on-one together, becoming the voice of the community. Thank you again, and I'll see both of you sometime this week.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thanks, Brian, for having this community roundtable. It's much needed. It's much appreciated. And thank you for being the voice to bring voices together.
You're definitely welcome. See you later, Queen.
All right.
See you later, King Marcus.
All right, bro. I'll let you later.